Hello and welcome back to Pillars of Eternity. We found some books last time that we're going to read now. We found the Birthram Scripture. Behold, thou faithful, the visage of thy transformation. Fear not the journey when the portal opens. Become one with the wheel, with glad heart and cheerful countenance. For the doorway shall be open to all in their time. Neither the rich nor influential, neither the kings nor rulers, neither the strong nor powerful can escape its embrace. Barath will usher thee through the doorway, and thou willest return to life, thy mortal life begun anew. There goes the cycle, there goes life, there goest also. Thou shalt approach the door, the inevitable shall approach thee. Do not turn back on the portal, do not turn back on a new life. Walk the path, and welcome change or face night. For he walks the road with thee, and will guide all to their destination. Thou mortal, the skull shalt become. Thou closed off, the key shall turn. Thou sealed, the threshold shall cross. Thou shall cross. Okay, interesting. Wonder what Durant thinks about that. Oh, and then this one's just Monsters of the Dreadfire Archipelago. The archipelago winds its way between the Great Eastern Ocean and the Restless Ocean, hundreds of small islands in the midst of water. Few dare brave its treacherous rapids, and fewer still have returned to tell the tale of their adventures through it. Travel between the two oceans is virtually impossible. Great storms hammer any ships foolhardy enough to attempt to navigate, and this alone should be enough to deter anyone from attempting the voyage, as untold ships have gone down, tossed against the rocks. The weather and treacherous rocks are only a precursor to the actual horror of the archipelago and terrors of the deep. No one knows how many creatures stalk the oceans, waiting for unsuspecting sailors to drift into their waters, but we do know of some. The Barbed Ravager. A giant shark that is known to ram passing vessels, trying to knock soldiers off the deck and smash a hole in the hull. Its tremendous spines protruding from its side and back are presumed to be poisonous. The largest sighted Barbed Ravager with survivors was estimated to be almost 30 feet long. Winding Serpent. Smaller than the Ravager, but potentially longer. The Winding Serpent attacks in small packs, usually 3 to 8. They have long, sharp heads, somewhat reminiscent of a barracuda. Like the Ravager, they repeatedly slam into the side of a ship, hoping to crack a hole in it or knock someone from the deck. They have also been known to swim to the depths and shoot out of the ocean, landing on the deck, coiling and winding the way around, snapping up any crew before they plunging back into the ocean. Leviathan. Imagine the largest whale you have ever seen. The Leviathan is at least 10 times that size. By the time the ship sees a Leviathan, it is already too late. As they rise from the depths, the water around them begins to spin and sink, creating a whirlpool. The Leviathan's body surrounds the hapless vessel, preventing escape. As it goes down, the enormous mouth opens, pulling them all aboard to their watery deaths. Pulpavor. All the creatures you've read about in this book are nothing compared to the Pulpavor. Barely the size of a man, while they lack in size and strength, they make up for in numbers and terrifying viciousness. Their lower halves are a mass of tentacles like an octopus or squid, but more numerous. The tentacles are long black whips with suction cups on the underside and small thorny barbs on the top. The sheer number of tentacles gives them frightening speed when walking on land, pulling themselves forward almost as fast as a running horse. While they vaguely resemble a human from the waist up, any extended examination proves how wrong that assumption is. Long stringy black hair falls from the top of their heads to cover a face taken directly from a nightmare. The wide gaping mouth cuts across the bottom of its head from ear to ear, full of wicked dagger-like teeth. 2 large round eyes are sunken into its head, black as coal, shining with a malevolent fire. A small antenna protrudes from the middle of its forehead, ending in a small module that can glow with an eerie blue light. One can imagine a sailor on the deck of his ship at night looking out across the black water, blood freezing as countless lights appear beneath the surface, rising towards them as the Pulpavor swarm upward. Because they seem to be more octopus than man, they can collapse in on themselves, fitting into spaces no person should be able to. The smallest crack in a hull, the slightest separation between boards offers them entrance. It is not unknown for them to slaughter an entire crew and from hold up to deck by infiltrating the ship from underneath. Fortunately, they do not seem to have spread far outside of the archipelago, but there may come a day when the por favor attacks become commonplace. Well, that sounds terrifying. Let's never deal with that, ever.
Quick and quiet.
Okay. Well,
Hey.
oh, we don't have everybody on our side here. There we go. What we got in here? Ooh, a fine sword. This might be great for you there, Eddie. Let's have a look. So you start off with a saber, but you don't have any great benefit of a saber. It's got 15 to 22 slash damage. The sword has 15 to 21 pierce damage, but because it's fine, it gets 15% extra damage and 4 accuracy. So it's slightly better. Just slightly, but I think it's better. There we go. We'll get rid of, what's it called? It's just a saber. Okay. I think it's better. Okay. What's this thing over here? It is... To His Grace, I write to implore. The rest of his letters crossed out in several places and then abandoned altogether. Okay, more books. Oh yeah, more books. Saint Wwin, farmer become god. With mention of the name Wwin, most folk think only one word: Godhammer. While this event echoes through the ages and is still felt years after the destruction of Evan Dwyer Bridge, Wwin's humble beginnings belie the powerful force that he would grow into. Wwin lived an unassuming life in a remote area of Redicrus, the son of Vorless farmers. He toiled in the fields alongside his father for 22 years until his father's death. The farm then fell to him to run. He considered selling, but had no other skills upon which to draw, so he set on the path of a Vorless farmer as well. Nothing of note has been recorded in Wwin's life until 4 years after his father's death. One day, while working the fields, Wwin's life was irrevocably changed. In his words, night was falling, the fingers of dust already gripping the sky. The sun had dipped beneath the world's edge, and stars were peeking out from behind the shroud. The day was still, and darkness had blanketed the field. I placed my last harvest of the day into the collection pile, when from behind me arose a brilliant light. I turned, fear in my breast, knowing not what could have caused such an intense radiance. Behind me stood a blazing figure, resplendent in glory. Its white flesh glowed with a luminescent radiance, its head a blinding ball of light, brighter than the highest sun of mid-year. I averted my gaze, afraid I'd be struck down for daring to gaze upon such a creature. A sudden peace watched over me, seeping away on my fear, leaving my troubled soul tranquil. A loving warmth wrapped its arms around me. A voice spoke to me as I stood, transfixed, trying to see both this glorious being and avoid its dazzling scrutiny. Fear not, it said to me, for you are chosen above all others. You will be the light to bring about the rebirth of an empire. It then held out its hand and bestowed upon me a vision of power, such that I could scarcely contain it. Wwin, dishevelled and dirty, stumbled into his village the next morning, telling all who would listen about the miracle that happened in his fields. Ethos himself, he claimed, had appeared to him. He was to punish the Edarian governor for leading his people into ruin. A way would be provided, and those faithful who helped would be blessed with the divinity manifested. Villagers ignored him, convinced the loss of his parents had broken his mind. But Wwin continued to preach the power of Ethos and the corruption of the governor, eventually earning him the ire of the locals. His confrontations with the villagers hit a turning point one day mid-autumn. A crowd had gathered around Wwin, cheering him and telling him to leave the village. The Volus crop that season was particularly light, and the villagers blamed Wwin, saying he had angered the gods, particularly Ethos, with his blasphemy. They backed him into one of the withered fields, yelling at him to go. Accounts of the inciting action are hazy. Some say a stone was thrown, others say he was pushed. Others say he simply tripped over a dry root sticking out from the ground. Regardless of the cause, Wwin landed face down on the ground, and the villagers standing over him laughing. Enough. A voice, not Wwin's, boomed across the fields. Wwin looked up at the crowd, his eyes glowing with blinding white light. He stood but did not stand. One moment he was on the ground, and next he was standing before the crowd who cowered before him. You dare deny me, the voice spoke through Wwin's mouth. You dare refuse my servant, Wwin's arms raised, beginning to luminesce. You dare require proof. His arms went out to his sides. Never ask again, lest you shall be burned in the light of a new dawn. There was a flash of light from Wwin's eyes and hands, and the entire field sprang to life. The once dried, brittle plants become lush, full, and verdant. The crowd was silent. From somewhere in the back came a call. "Praise Ethos!" Then they all fell to their knees in front of Wwin, the farmer turned god. So there appears to be a very, very strong story. Like, there's a very set story here for how this happened. Which is interesting. I wonder whether there's any other explanations from another point of view, but definitely sounds, from what we've heard, not ridiculous, but he could have just been a magic user who had some sort of particular spell. So I'm not entirely convinced, but we'll see. We'll see. I'm sure we'll find out eventually something about this. Let everybody in here. Oh, what's this? So we got a scroll for Fan of Flames, which we'll give to Aloth. Redrix's letter and engraved silver key. Okay. I understand your concern, Sister Nedra, but we are safest here within the temple. What have we done? What wrong have we done? Lord Redrick would not risk his position by harming us when we brought so much prosperity to the village. Wharton pretends at alarm. He knows full well that there are empty threats, and he means to frighten us into departing our homes. Are we to abandon Gilded Vale to heretics? Wharton too will play his part when the time comes. Our temple will stand long after Lord Redrick's hold is but gravel and memory. Retrix Obrica. So the person we met at the front was trying to convince everyone to leave before they were all slaughtered.
I'll have this open in no time.
I don't remember if he told us that.
As promised.
Okay, what we got in here? Oh, a crossbow. Alright. Fine. Oh, we got something over here. Another book. Another 2 books. Oh, yeah. The Great Western Stag. One day, Ethos was sitting on a wall, watching a cat play in the sun. A crystal hung in a nearby tree had fragmented a sunbeam and scattered small motes of light on the ground. They danced around the cat, sliding over him as he frantically batted at them. He spun in place, following one as it rushed past him, and leapt on it, trying to pin it down. Ethos smiled, amused at the animal's tenacity. The cat landed on a spot, placing his paws over it only to watch it flit away again. Ethos watched the cat's tail twitch and slap at the ground, annoyed that his prey could not be pinned. "Why must you tease him?" a voice from behind him said, accompanied by a crunch of sandals and gravel. "I merely bring the dawn," Ethos responded. "I don't stroke the hunter's heart. That's your responsibility, isn't it?" "True," said the second voice. "But neither do you quell it. If the hunter could not see his prey, would he still hunt?" "So philosophical, Hylia, Ethos said, and turned to greet the 2 gods that approached him. "Have you come to debate the parallel between sight and desire?" He gestures to the wall, inviting Helia and Galwain to join him. They sat in silence, watching the cat who continued to hunt the sun, fruitlessly swatting at another mote and then rolling onto his back. "I have created the ultimate prey," Ethos said, finally breaking the silence. "It can be tricked, it can be followed, it can be seen, but can never be caught." Gilwyn laughed lightly. "You don't agree, Gilwyn?" Ethos asked. "Well, it's true your creation is elusive. It hardly can be considered the ultimate prey, because it never can be caught." He paused, his brow furrowed in thought. "If that mote of light had substance, and the hunter could subdue it, otherwise it's merely a dream. Truly a fruitless endeavour." "All creatures spend their lives chasing fruitless endeavours," said Helia. "It is a way of mortality." Gilwyn laughed again. "I could create a living creature of flesh and blood that could never be caught. I could make your dream a reality." Now with Essos' turn to laugh. "You propose turning a fruitless dream into a fruitless reality. How is this any better?" "A life spent in the pursuit of an attainable goal far exceeds any other." "But you just said no one could catch this creature. This is not obtainable." Gilwyn smiled. "Humanity has surprised us before. Indeed, it could surprise us again. I will create a great white stag and I will set it free in the world. It will have grace, resilience, and tenacity. It will exist solely to be pursued for all its days, and it will never be caught. It will serve to inspire the hunt for generations to come. All those who wish for glory will invoke my name. All those who hear its story will ask for my blessing in finding it." Helia shook her head and threw Galwyn a bemused look. "I do not believe this is possible. So I, too, will make an offer. To the person who catches the stag, and they will catch the stag. I'll bestow upon them its grace, resilience, and tenacity. Thrice blessed they will be. They will ask for my blessing on the hunt, so they can obtain my boon. Gilwyn and Helia took up arguing whose name would be invoked more when the hunt was on. Ethel smiled, a small smile playing at the edges of his mouth. He stood and looked to the sky. The sun had already started to hide itself beneath the mountains. The cat long ago tired of stalking the moats, and fallen asleep beneath the tree. He turned and looked up at the other gods, deep in debate, and sighed again. I merely bring the dawn, he repeated as he made his way down the path. It is up to you to see what I reveal. Okay. And then the Book of Verses. This small volume of verses and psalms is somewhat battered, suggesting it used to be carried on someone's person. The pages are dog-eared and worn, and the gold threads which form the title of the book have begun to fray. The book tends to open to a particular section, where someone has marked a verse with a small blotch of ink. Ed Nung, the bright star, spoke, and her voice was like clarion cry calling for his soul forth. He knew her for the right hand of the shining god and was afraid. O wanderer, hear me, she spoke. You are known to us, and your deeds put you far from salvation. And he wept, for he knew that his sins lay bare before this great illumination. Then Saragmis spoke, and his voice swept forth with the heat and force of a bright day's sun. Weep not, for the child of light has forgiveness for even you, if you embrace him. Harkham knelt before them, and then resolved to save himself and asked what he must do. And Modgun spoke. Her voice was like that of a songbird's final hymn, bidding farewell to the day's light. What darkness lies within you, you must cast into his light. Your sins will be burned from you, until you are newly formed, reborn into his keeping. So spoke Mordgum, but Ednung warned him, saying, You have walked all these years into darkness, and now you must return. You will find the path like treading fire, and at every step you'll be tempted to turn away, but no harm will come to you if you keep your faith. Okay, so that was... Presumably there was somebody who was not as faithful originally here. Not that surprising, really. You know, it's a fairly big church by the sounds of it. There's loot here that we didn't get last time we were here. That's awful. We left loot behind. That's just not on. We left a whole ear. We could do something with that ear, maybe, eventually. Okay, you know what this fight is. You've seen this before. This is the fight. This is difficult. This is us going to try and, try and win this very difficult fight. So what we're going to do is we're going to have Edier over here.
Yeah.
Now, do we still have our trap? I don't think we have our trap. Is it still there? I think I just left the trap there but didn't do anything with it. Yeah. Okay, so we'll sneak into this corner here.
How may I help?
We'll have... I see we need a Loth in the corner. Like, kind of right in the corner. You are. We need us sitting back. Maybe, actually, we can switch to a crossbow for just now. And sit kind of back here. We'll have Durance be the one who works with a Loth this time. And he can do all sorts of cool stuff. We'll get him to do his potion of spirit shield right before we go in.
Yes.
A Loth here. Now, there is also the potion of wizard's double, which might be nice for Durance as well. But Loth is definitely going to have... he could have the scroll of fan of flames if wanted. I think he's fine. You know what? This is fine. Let's keep this set up. So we have crossbow.
How may I help?
We have a Loth who is going to use a wand. So the moment we start, we're going to slick... I think we're going to wizard's double, slicken, then fan of flames. I think that's what we're going to do.
Hey.
So... let's save. We're all ready.
Alright then.
Sneak in. Show yourself. Right. So, over here. Very, very quickly, drop that wizard's double. You also take the potion of wizard's double.
Yes.
You stay still. That's cast, right? Yeah. Slicken. Right here.
Hey.
Eddie, your turn round. Durance, be ready, and we will start firing on Skulder. Slicken knocked so many down. It's a dream day. Right. You need to go knock down the last one. Durance. Anything we want to drop in that area? Like a debuff, basically. I don't know what we're gonna do. Heals the minds of allies. I didn't expect Slicken to be that good, which is why I'm like, ooh, all these options. Ooh. Maybe we want to do this. Oh, ionic projection, slow-moving energetic projection of the faith that inflicts freeze damage to all enemies and heals allies. That would be perfect. Okay, Aloth, we need your flame thing.
Hey.
We need to go closer. Right. Flame on.
Not too long.
Right. How are you doing? You doing alright? Durance. Can we have it? We can have another one of those, right? Flames. This is so good. Right. Get that skull there.
But I'm
right, get that skull there. You really need to heal. Right. Durance. Get in there. Heal. Holy Radiance. Heals and kills the last one. Crusader Kings the last one alive. We want to switch to our battle axe and come right in here. We want Aloth to go and just hit a shot in. We want Aloth to hit another shot in. We want to head around the side. That'll do actually. That'll do. A little bit of a backstab. Durance hits in. We have one knockdown which we're going to attempt. There we go. Blinded. Knockdown failed, but it's been flanked. Ton of damage going in here. Look at that. That was so good. Oh, and this guy just spawned. Ooh. But I'm very happy with that. Look at all those ears. Also, should have just got a cyclopedia thing. Bestiary for Skuldir. So, Skuldir. So what do we know about them? They kind of take the same damage from everything. Yeah. They do damage. They're not weak to anything in particular. Skuldir whelps, again, not weak to anything. They do less damage. That was not what I meant to do. Close spider. Well, actually, Skuldir whelps do more consistent damage. Skuldir do more potential damage. Interesting. Anyway, Skuldirs are large mammalian creatures that dwell in caves in total or near total darkness. As a result, they have poor vision and rely on their sense of hearing to navigate and find prey. Their protrusions and hair on their ears allow them to detect airflow, which is key to telling the direction in underground environments. They communicate through screeches and clicks and use vocalizations in form of echolocation. They are communal creatures and will nest and raise young together. How lovely. Alright, and Skuldir whelps are the same thing. Yep. Except they have Stunning Scream, which the normal Skuldir don't. So Skuldir whelps are actually worth attacking more, because they have abilities and they have more consistent damage. They're less accurate though, and they have less endurance. So Skuldir whelps are kinda... Yeah, they offer a different thing. I think we want to kill those first. Interesting, I would just assume they were weaker otherwise. Spiders? Might as well read the spider description. Enormous and hostile spiders come in terrifying arrays of shapes, colours and sizes throughout Eastern Reach. Much more aggressive than their tiny kin, these giants actively seek out human and animal prey. Even the weakest of them, the spear spider, can easily kill a growth kith if the victim is unprepared. Though the spear spider lacks a poisonous bite, its piercing legs, from which the name is derived, can inflict terrible wounds even through armour. More deadly than spear spiders are ivory spiders and widowmakers, with both species possessing horrific poisonous bites. The ivory spinner also has the ability to fire webbing at its prey, slowing it down. Widowmakers do not cast webs, but their poison is extremely toxic. Seldom seen outside of the most remote locations in Glanvath, the fabled crystal eaters are enormous, powerful, possessing magic are enormous and powerful, possessing magical abilities some wizards believe have developed through the consumption of Adra and enhanced gemstones. In addition to their ability to raise a field of deadly crystal spikes, the venom of a crystal eater will temporarily turn a victim's flesh and blood to stone. Subsequent attacks by the crystal eaters on petrified foes are quickly fatal. Do they have any kind of main weakness? Crush, they have a little resistance to, and slash, but I think this is additional weaknesses. So if it's not crush or slash, you get a little bit more on them, I think. Don't know anything about the ivory spinners. Don't know anything about spear spiders at all. So ivory spiderlings are the ones we know most about, and we still don't know a lot. Like, we don't know what we need to know. Like, we don't know what they're weak to, but I assume that means they're not weak to anything in particular. Okay.
Hey.
Well, I'm going to quickly save and then we'll head in. Let's grab all the stuff for... Oh! Okay, let's not grab the stuff. A haze fills the air, coalescing steadily into a blur of dust and mist. It gathers in the outline of what appears to be a dwarf, a shimmering echo that fades in and out of sight. But stronger than the sight is the sense within you of a powerful energy. It roils and seethes with a grief that seems to spill into your own thoughts, tainting them until the sorrow is your own. Like a crashing wave, the energy surges towards you and into you, and suddenly you are elsewhere. Before you is a brightly lit stone corridor lined with torches and gleaming crystals. You're running, your footsteps echoing off the stone around you. You forgot to tie your sandals and they're slipping from your feet, fouling your steps. You're late again. The rite's going to begin without you. You hear the tolling of a bell and your spirits lift as you recognize the familiar warped tone of the right hand, representing the first of the dawn stars to appear in the night sky and the last to fade into the dawn light. You pray fiercely that this is the first of the chimes, not the last. The lights fade, and so does the memory. When your eyes clear, the spirit is gone. Okay. Powerful odor rises from one of the dishes. Vibrant dyes and grain seeds fill the others. Okay, rod and copper. We'll grab that.
Quick and quiet.
Do a little bit of sneaking, see if we've got anything else around here. Shouldn't, but I want to make sure. We'll go a little bit quicker. That we know it's empty. Okay, so there was some sort of clue to something there. I suspect this bell puzzle. In fact, to tell you the truth, I know it's the bell puzzle because I may have played this section before. However, I do not remember the solution to the puzzle, so it doesn't exactly help. 3 bells hang from the stone protrusion that runs along this wall. Years of dust and grime coat the metal. There's one large bell at the center, flanked by 2 smaller ones. Right, let's examine them. The bells appear to be fully intact. They're made of thick iron and look very heavy. There doesn't appear to be much out of the ordinary about them. So, we were told 2 things about the bells. Now, this is what I remember. I think we were just told the last one said the right hand rings first and last. So the right bell rings first and last. We know this. We also know that the center bell rings before the left bell. The left bell rings before the center bell. It's one of those 2. So I think it's something like right, center, left, right. Let's ring the right one. Bells sound strange, warbling peal that grows into painful shrillness before it diminishes into a mournful chime. Middle? You heave the bell, and as it swings back in the other direction, the clapper strikes a low, powerful note against the heavy iron. You feel a ringing in your chest as if the sound moves through the ruined halls in a rolling tide. Left? The bells toll high, piercing noise of startling power. The tones echo merrily through the halls until it seems that a dozen chirping notes ring through the temple. Right? The particular chime rings through the ruins. There's a quiet, melodic chime from all 3 bells, for the discordant voices meet in one powerful rising rush of sound. It seems to fill the whole temple, a driving flood of song that drowns out all other thought. As the tolling fades, you hear a crack in the direction of the doors as the passage to the lower level swings open. First try. That is fantastic. That would allow us access to the lower level. But I'm going to end the episode here. Thank you for watching. I'm also going to go and heal before the next episode. We're going to go out, we're going to get more camping supplies, and we're going to be very ready. And I will see you next time. Goodbye.